talks about Disney's issues with the bigoted left-wing fascist SJWs at Pixar and the Imagineers, and the fact that it's not about it's not about the Florida Bills. It's about these people don't want to relocate. And, you know, get woke, go broke, get fired. That's all I can say. I want to talk a little bit about victimhood, because all this crap going down about gay rights and LGBTQ plus and all that rest of that fit, and I mean, they just have to have, they have to be in everything because we need to have, representation. No, no, you don't. You don't. Okay. Hollywood did a fine job decades ago when there were tons of them running around. Hey, just some other guy. Without making a big deal about them in every fucking movie, including kids' cartoons. Okay. All right. Anyway, but this is about victimhood. And it seems to me a lot of this SJW shit started with a little known TV personality from Chicago who had her own talk show named Oprah Winfrey. Let me tell you something about Oprah. She had a very dysfunctional family life, all right? She says she was abused as a child, sexually abused. Okay, all right. She also had a hard time with her ethnicity, okay, and her weight, and all the rest of these things. And instead of saying, first off, I was born this way, so, I mean, being a African American woman, of course. Weight, you can fix. Okay, it's not, it's not hard. And some ethnicities, what is that? Okay, lots of times there are people out there that just have issues with weight because of their heritage. Okay, like my mom-in-law likes to say, either Italian women are thin, Monica Bellucci and Claudia Cardinale and Sophia Loren, or they're enormous. It's either one or the other. There's not both. There's, and whatever genetic makeup you get, well, there you go. Okay. And same for a lot of people. I mean, even, German women, you get to a certain age and they can be quite buxom. It just depends on, if you're fighting genetics or not. But at least you can get yourself into some modicum of shape where you're not that enormous and you're not that unhealthy. But she, I think, is where the body positive movement started. Okay? Love the fact that you're morbidly obese and you're unhealthy. Hey, Jonathan. Okay, fine. Because she's not really that big anymore. She has, I guess, a vegan or a keto chef. And okay, fine, that's good. She's a billionaire. She can do that. But that show allowed women and others to look at themselves as, none of this is my fault. Everything wrong in my life, somebody else is to blame. Right, Koji? Right? Here he is. Say hi. Anyway, and it's really affected people. Now, I can't remember the woman who began the 1619 Project. See, Trayla, there you go. You got it right there. And the 1619 Project is where critical race theory is born. Okay, it is, if you look at the book, and I've looked at excerpts just because I was curious, you might as well be reading, oh yeah, this is just an idea I've had since all this crap at Disney started. But thanks, Phoenix. Yeah, it is just some other guy. So the 1619 Project, if you look at it, it's like reading Mein Kampf. It really, really is. I have never seen anything more disgustingly racist in my life. Okay? Oprah champions this, but Oprah is the queen of the victims. If you look at anything she's written, she literally, I mean, she's built a brand by herself, which is good for her. But in her personal life, she blames her dad. She dated John Tesh, and basically, I mean, in one of her books, calls him a racist because, you know, look, he's a white guy. You know, a lot of guys are turned off by that, by obesity, okay? And that's just, I mean, you know, look, I'm sorry. She was in a relationship with him. She slept with him. And he was like, okay, I'm done. Okay. Happens to every woman out there. Okay. It does. All right. It's just, everybody's got somebody. Okay. And you're going to run into a guy if you're a woman, or a woman if you're a guy, who's just not that attracted to you physically after the first round. Okay? That's just what happens. Okay? But she blames him for her, I think, probably, you know, her supposed body dysmorphic, or that's tranny, her body image. Okay? You know, not everybody can look like Diana Ross or Whitney Houston. All right? You know, or Natalie Cole. Okay? It's just, you know, and that's fine. Okay? Just like not everybody can look like Stephanie Seymour or Heidi Klum or, you know, Cindy Crawford or, you know, Christy Brinkley. All right? It's just, you know, they won the genetic platinum medal. Okay? There you go. There you go. Not everybody can look like Iman. Again, genetic platinum medal. All right? It's just that way. But she plays the victim. Okay? And embracing the CRT, she's also perpetuating the victimhood with this made up historical inaccuracy. Okay? This is what fascists do. They go and rewrite history. All right? You might as well go back to 1936 Germany to look at a comparison. Okay? Now, the reason why I use Germany is because that was based on race. Didn't have anything to do with, you know, class, which is what the Bolsheviks did. All right? Which is what Mao did, basically destroying Chinese culture. Literally. Okay? And to me, it's an affront. If you're constantly waving the flag of victimhood, whether, you know, in the SJW movement, which Oprah is one of the seeds of that, with her embracing of Barack Obama, and his pretending to be a victim. You know, it's all fake. It's a cult. These people, if you've ever read, if you read the first book in the Han Solo origin story, called The Paradise Snare, there are these priests who have this certain sound they make up that's natural to them. They're not human, okay? And they literally have humans completely addicted to it, okay? These humans basically work in refining spice so it can be sold out in the galaxy, all right? On this place called Elysia. And when you read the book, you suddenly realize these guys doing this don't believe a goddamn thing they're saying or doing. It is not a religion. It is a cult, and it's a fake cult. That's exactly what Oprah and SJW leaders like Kathy Kennedy are. That's what they do. It's a victimhood, okay? Kathy Kennedy was a victim in her pea-sized brain. Oprah Winfrey, $3 billion, okay, is a victim. When she was a kid, she was. But she never learned to accept what happened, take power over herself, and move on. I mean, she's the idiot who actually believes if you manifest, you can manifest a thought and it'll be real. All right? No, that's really not how it works. You gotta put blood, sweat, and tears into anything. I mean, even Elon Musk works 16 hours a day, for Christ's sakes. You know, he doesn't sit there like, you know, a Rockefeller burning bricks of $100 bills, okay? I mean, that's not how it works, okay? But they've created this, and I think it's where the social justice movement began. Because, look, all right, homosexuals in society for millennia have been derided, have been abused, have been killed, okay? Back in, you know, England, it wasn't a good idea to get caught like that because what they did was horrible, okay? You know, back in Israel, BC, guy would get stoned to death, okay? I mean, the Iranians hang homosexuals. ISIS throws them off of buildings. I don't know what the Taliban does, but, you know, then you got pedophilia rampant in the Taliban's band, so I don't know what they think. But, so I understand. But in the United States, with its hate crime laws, with the fact that people are like, you know, I don't understand it, but as long as, you know, I don't bother with them, all right? I don't bother with them. You know, the only people, I mean, if you're, you know, the only people they're hurting with this in a lot of people's minds are themselves. Fine, okay, if you believe that. But people are mostly left alone. Now, I'll tell you a little story. And one of their icons, Matthew Shepard, remember what happened to him? He was found basically hung up on a fence in Wyoming. Oh, you know, abused because he was gay and murdered. The story is, in actuality, a gay reporter went out and followed the trail and discovered that he wasn't murdered because he was gay. He was a drug dealer. He was a meth dealer or a crack dealer, okay? He stiffed someone on something. He stiffed the people that murdered him on something, and they took him down, okay? Now, the way they did it was horrendous, okay? And maybe part of it was because he was gay, but the reason why they did it is because he stiffed him. You know, I didn't, you know, take him out to the alley like the mafia would, all right? And you know, just simply do the deed and walk away. So there were hate crimes attached to it. But still, he was in the situation he was in because he was a drug dealer, okay? These are the honest truths. However, he's an icon. He was a victim. Now we've got Disney fighting SJWs, you know, screaming victim, I'm a victim. In California, where no one gives a fuck. No one cares, okay? And you've got the enablers, the awfuls, affluent white female ultra-liberals, or leftists, that's what I like to say, like Kathy Kennedy, like Chelsea Handler, like, you know, Kathy Griffin, I'm sure, screaming and ranting and raving about this shit. And the flag of victimhood, again, is a false flag. It is. They're not victims. They just don't want to move to Florida and be amongst people that probably don't share their view, but also don't give a fuck, okay? Again, what is the rule? What is the rule, chat? I'd have to care about you to hate you. I don't care about you, so I can't hate you, okay? Get out of my face. There you go. Stop pissing in my cornflakes. Go live your life and, dazzle us with a movie that you made on your own, or a novel that you wrote, or a painting that you painted, okay? But for the love of all that is holy, stop injecting yourselves into every fucking thing and stop pretending you're a victim because you're fucking not, okay? And you're people that don't care, now you're starting to piss us off. Oh, another thing, leave the kids alone. Leave the kids alone. Again, leave the children alone. Now, let's go further. There is a problem that Oprah has. This is where we get into the fake shit. So look at the thumbnail, the little blonde woman sitting with her, and Oprah's got this, "See what I brought you, Harvey," and Harvey leering at the girl, okay? Oprah Winfrey knew everything. And that photo looks like she's pimping that girl to Harvey, all right? This is my problem, and this is the hypocrisy. Oprah claims to be a victim, but she's got a victim sitting there. Everybody who screamed Harvey's name and what a god like he was, even Meryl Streep, whom I actually kind of like, thought the sun rose and sank out of his ass, okay? They all knew. They all knew, all right? Everybody knew. I mean, Brad Pitt at a red carpet walked up to him and said, "If you ever go near Gwyneth again, I'll open up a whole can of Missouri whoop ass on you." Scared the shit out of Weinstein, okay? Because Brad's a big boy. And back then, when Pitt was dating Gwyneth Paltrow, I could have seen him doing that. He was young, impetuous, and had no fucks to give, okay? All right, I could see him doing that now. I could. All right, but here's the deal. The victims in this are the people, hey Mazarus, that Oprah has used and abused, Harvey has used and abused, Hollywood in general. Let's talk about Michael Jackson and leaving Neverland. Now, a lot of people out there think that he actually did all that stuff. I don't know. I walked away feeling bad for him. Oh yeah, I mean, that's true. Bad for him? Because he looked like he was being put out there in retrospect as a shiny object to hide what's really going on inside of Hollywood in regards to little boys and little girls. Okay, let me remind you that the schools that Oprah Winfrey has opened in South Africa, a lot of girls have claimed sexual abuse on the people that Oprah chose to lead those schools, okay? Think about that. So Oprah makes this documentary, presents the world a Hollywood pedophile. Okay, all right, eat your bagel maze. And I'm sitting here going, why are they doing this now? Why? Here's the shiny object. And Michael Jackson was always somebody who garnered attention because he was so extremely eccentric. I mean, like, wow, eccentric. That it would be obvious to people, hi, Buddy Bear. I got a good dog right here. That he would be a good target because everybody knew he had friends around. But then you got somebody who was a real victim, Corey Haim, and he was. I mean, I'm not going to take that from him. Corey also has a problem with credibility when he starts saying he wants to talk about who did all the abuse. He won't do it, and he says he's scared to do it. But I can link a few other people who've actually been killed. One questionably, I'm not sure, and another who actually was killed to all this. Here's Michael Jackson, the shiny object, because he's been an uberly eccentric guy for decades, okay? But you gotta remember, he was a victim of his own upbringing. He never really had a kidhood, okay? In some ways, he was very childlike his whole life, okay? And you kind of wonder what made him go way out there in the eccentricity thing. But was he what they said he was? Okay? A lot of people who watched Leaving Neverland walked away going, this is bullshit. Okay? But if somebody loved Michael, they're gonna love him no matter what. They're gonna think it's bullshit. I watched it and I went, there's something not right here. And again, the shiny object. Why? Look over here. Here's a real pedo. Meanwhile, the group over there who victimize little boys under the age of under puberty, they're not prepubescent boys, which is what a pedophile is. Or they victimize teenage boys, and that would be, I'm going to say this, that would be gay men, okay? A post-pubescent boy is basically an adult. He might not be 21, but still, okay? They were very happy to have Michael take the shit that they should have been taking. Now, I can name tons. The most famous one is Bryan Singer, okay? We've all heard of the stories. He's hiding now in England. He will never set foot in the United States. He's terrified too because he's going to get arrested. He's basically the gay version of Roman Polanski, okay? And it's very interesting, but all the people that I suspect are, and no, I'm not saying Tom Hanks because he doesn't strike me as somebody who does shit like that. I think Rita would kill him. Same thing with Steven Spielberg. Now, I know I have friends who go to this Secret Squirrel website that does Hollywood gossip. And no, I haven't, Asia. I haven't. And, they talk about, Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks. It's like bullshit. If that's true, where are the cops? Where's law enforcement? Because I'm telling you right now, the uproar, public uproar, if direct evidence, and I mean direct, irrefutable fucking evidence ever came out about anybody at that tier, the public uproar to do something would either drive that public figure, AJ, to Europe, or would drive the FBI to actually do something, okay? Just like they had to about Harvey Weinstein, all right? Harvey Weinstein was also a shiny object, even though he is a predator, and he's paying for it. Shiny object to hide other people that are worse than him, by the way. It's a good boy. And I'm watching all this going, the reason why Weinstein was put out there was to hide everybody else. The reason why they attacked Michael Jackson and used, I think, look, even at his trials, there was no direct evidence. It was a he said, and Michael just paid him off to get him off his back, all right? As somebody who is a person who's very interested in how a defense lawyer defends somebody, I'd say right out loud, there's no direct evidence of this. You cannot convince, it's like, if the glove don't fit, you must have quit. okay? And then, oh, you know, O.J. Simpson with his massive paws puts on a glove that had shrunk, that he had worn, and the glove didn't fit. All right, but everybody, and he was wearing a plastic glove over his hands, okay? And I'm looking at all this and thinking, the reason why they're screaming right now at Bob Chapek, at, you know, even worried about David Zaslav, here he is. Such a good boy. He's such a good dog. Is because they're terrified that a lot of the shit that they've gotten away with for decades is going to end. Okay? I mean, look, ouch, don't do that to me. There have been people in Hollywood that have pulled this shit since Hollywood was created. You know, and you've had overly sexualized women like Jean Harlow. Jean Harlow would walk around on the set naked. She didn't care. Okay? She, Marlene Dietrich, after reading her biography, I'm convinced she was sexually abused by her stepfather, sexually abused by a female French tutor, and very confused about everything. And the city of Berlin has literally always been a hotspot of fucked upness, okay? I've got a book called Faust's Metropolis, and it's about Berlin. And it is eye-opening about the crap that went on even back when it was a mud village. Okay, it's just, you know, you're gonna find people out there that when you say Berlin, and they see Nazis, they see white picket fences, they see, you know, white bread this and white bread that. No. I mean, the leader of the brown shirts was gay and he was a pederast. He chased teenage boys around. Okay? And, you know, he was overly ambitious, tried to actually usurp the German military's power, his sci-fi universe, and got himself killed for it by his own people. Were there gay Nazis after that? You're damn right. Hermann Goering, when he was finally brought in, shows up with his nails painted and wearing powder and lipstick. Okay? All right. There are questions about Reinhard Heydrich. All right? So when I hear people, you know, call people who are just normal, straight people who, you know, have nothing against anybody, just want to be left alone, they're like, when I have people say that shit to me, you know, call me a Nazi, and my favorite is when some LGBTQ radical starts screaming breeder at normal straight people. It's like, you're the Nazi. Okay, no, you're not a victim. You're victimizing everybody else. Stop it. Okay? And this is the problem. We have a problem with victimhood. And the SJWs are the grown children of the Oprah Winfrey set of humans, okay? I mean, there were housewives that would watch her religiously every day at 3 o'clock or whenever her show came on, okay? There are housewives that would do that. And they've morphed into view watchers, okay? And they're the ones that take up the banner and shove it down our throats, okay? And you know, or you know, pretend victims like Kathy Kennedy, okay? It is literally, hi Kojak, here he is. It is literally staggering to me that these enablers, these faux victims, all right, and you know, Oprah believes she's a victim. She really, really believes that. She's never come to the conclusion that she has more money than everybody sitting here. All my subscribers, all the subscribers for Midnight's Edge and Latino Slant and Loki's Mornings of Mischief, etc., combined, all right? $3 billion, okay? How is she a victim now, okay? Here's the deal. The most successful people in the world, I mean, you don't know what they went through. I mean, I had someone screaming at me yesterday that Elon Musk showed up in America with a lot of money because his father owned diamond mines or some shit. His father kicked his mother out and did not give the family anything. They literally showed up with nothing. Okay? That's the truth. Do you see him picking his nose crying about it? No. All right? He doesn't do that shit. He doesn't. Okay? It's just, it's what happened. But look at what of a success he's made of himself. And he seems quite content in his life. All right? He knows the value of every human being that works for him. All right? Meanwhile, Oprah Winfrey started a cult movement over victimhood. Meanwhile, she's creating victims all over Hollywood. And there are people out there that think that, she's a pedophile too. All right? I don't know if she is, but I know she knows who is if she's not. These people get together, and I look at it as being there are people who do it, there are people who know and don't talk about it, and there are people who do know about it and kind of hint at it, like Seth MacFarlane. And it's literally, okay, Azia, that's interesting. It's literally like when Ricky Gervais says stop fucking kids, he knows it. He knows it. Vince Vaughn was going, trying not to laugh. But they all know it's true. And all it takes is one person to break it, okay? Or one person to take away their ability to project bullshit, their kind of victimhood bullshit. And look, this thing with Buzz Lightyear. Everybody in my former parish in Stafford County, Virginia, very conservative Catholic parish, knows about it. Now, everybody in my parish here knows about it. Lots of families with lots of little kids. They're not going to go see this movie. Okay? Let the market speak. Okay? And the only victims here are little kids. Okay? The only victims here are the kids that get passed around at Hollywood parties. Eyes wide shut parties, yes, they happen. Cameron's talked about it. My friend Lee Scott's talked about it. Dan Watanabe's talked about it. They've all talked about it. It happens. Now, who goes to them? I don't know. Look, there are people that are in Hollywood that are actually the powers that be, and those are the people that are the most dangerous. All right? No. There are people there that are. Like, if you guys remember that Rocket Pizza, I think it was called, after Trump was elected president, a lot of stuff came out about this woman who's basically a performance artist called, I think her name is Marina Ambrovic. Yeah, you're right, Mazurus. And she has a cult following in Hollywood. I believe she's, I'm going to say this, and I have a friend of mine who is Wiccan, but, I believe that there are degrees of that, and this woman is not a nice person. She's gotten people to come to what she calls spirit cooking. Okay. In fact, there's a picture of Gloria Vanderbilt with their two boys, playing, mom and kid romping in her bed, and above them what looks like is a painting of spirit cooking. Okay, it's disgusting. And basically, it's this shit where the models out there, and a cake is brought out, and what looks like a dead body, a very young, beautiful human being, either man or woman, it doesn't matter. And people are invited up to take a bite. Now, I'm going to say this. Does this happen with actual humans? We have a very, very huge problem with missing and exploited children. All right? We have a big problem with California and the border there. And little kids cross the border and they disappear. So I don't know. But when you hear stuff about Eyes Wide Shut parties, sex cults, that woman who's in that, I can't remember her name, but an actress from a very big TV show, like doing 20 years, for being the head, being the proprietor, the procurer for a sex cult. Okay? They're the people who are young and get dragged into this, kidnapped, talked into it, whatever. They're the victims, not the people like Oprah who wave the flag of victimhood. Meanwhile, she's counting money. All right, it's bullshit. The real bad guys are those guys. Okay, and I'm gonna tell you something. I looked into. Look at this again. Look. I looked into this very closely when it happened, when she got to be famous, and like she would do this stuff at like a big venue in New York City, and they showed Lady Gaga, Catholic raised by the way, partaking. Another one in Hollywood where you see Will fucking Ferrell of all people watching this performance. Now it's a cake, but what else is going on here? And what else is going on behind closed doors that we don't know about? Okay, again, meanwhile, Oprah, Mark Ruffalo, Alec Baldwin, Olivia Wilde, Kathy Griffin, and the rest of this human dumpster fire, these white trash people, scream victimhood. This is, again, did she play with a Ouija board when she was a kid? Don't do that. Just fucking don't. Don't. Now, I've had people who are a little more, even more, there really isn't anybody, I think, more into the faith than I am, but there are people who go to extremes who say don't listen to heavy metal music. It's like, now he's getting up and walking away. Where are you going? Koji, come here. He's got the longest tail in the history of doghood. Don't listen to heavy metal music. Why? Don't watch The Exorcist. It was written by a devout Catholic. The book was. Okay. And he also, baby boy, he wrote the script. Okay. The story's about two Catholic priests who sacrificed themselves to save a little girl from this demon. What a terrible story. All right, let's talk about Lucasfilm. Pablo Hidalgo. I'm Latino, so I'm a victim. The guy's got the dream job. Apparently. How the fuck is he a victim? He has enough money to live comfortably in fucking San Francisco. The most expensive goddamn city in the world. Explain to me how he's a victim. Huh, Buddy Bear? What are you doing? You can go down there. But this is what social justice, and I think it was created by Oprah on her afternoon talk show with all those fat, bored women. Yeah, you're right. And well, and Jake Guevara actually really did victimize homosexuals. He hunted them like rabbits. Yep, Trela, you're right. And it's really something to me when I see all this stuff. These people who have everything, who make more money in 1 year than my husband ever made in his whole life. And he served our country. Dare to. Oh, yuck. Oh, I'll check him out. You know, they actually push the cult of victimhood. They actually tell homosexuals that they're victims when they're not. They tell black people who are successful, you're a victim. And then come up with the 1619 Project, which is nothing but rewritten, regurgitated history to fuck with white people. It's racist as hell, too. Oh my God. I think the woman wrote another book called The Fragility of White People. Fuck you, bitch. Fuck you. Okay? We'll talk about how fragile you are when I'm done with you. Okay? What the fuck? But they get away with it. They get away with it. They're allowed. And what this cult of victimhood does is give these people basically a way of holding power over minorities, people of color, black men, white men, or black men, black women, Latinos, Asians. I mean, Asians are the least. They're the last people on the planet that ever embrace victimhood. They are, okay. In fact, when the school board in San Francisco tried to zero the Asians out of the best high school in San Francisco, it was the Asian population in San Francisco that recalled 3 people off that board. And when you look at them all, it was racism. All right? I don't think, here's the deal, the second worst treated kind of people in the United States are Asians. They are. It's white people and Asians. And the reason why is because Asians perceive to have a hand up on other minorities because they actually do the work. Okay? They actually do the work. Look, this is my philosophy. I don't care where you come from. Everybody, all right, should basically has opportunities. And if you don't make the most of them, if you don't educate yourself, okay, and you constantly fail because you didn't take advantage of a learning experience, you didn't take advantage of an opportunity to learn, and then you blame, the Korean dude sitting next to you who gets straight A's, or you blame the white girl sitting next on the other side who's getting straight A's, or, whatever, that's your fault, okay? That's your fault, all right? I got no sympathy. I have too many friends who are African-American, who are Latino, who have worked their asses off. Mike's here. He went to Oxford, okay, and Stanford, okay? You'd be surprised at how far you can get if you apply yourself. Okay? Meanwhile, Pablo Hidalgo basically is living the life of Riley in fucking San Francisco and blaming you and me and everybody else for no reason at all. He's a victim. And he's cultivating a victimhood. Okay? He was part of the rewriting Ripley thing. All right? And I'll tell you something. There's no more pathetic victim than young white bitches. Okay? None. It's just like they are the spawn of the awfuls. Okay? No, you're not entitled to that. No, you can't just go and say whatever the fuck you want to people. Okay? Because you're a whammon. You can't. All right. Yesterday, I got talked down to because I basically, if you guys don't know the story, my voice. I was 19 years old. I was in college. I had anorexia, and I had plans of leaving lacrosse at one point and following a music career, trying to get involved somewhere and start that up. I wanted to do that, and I wanted to branch out into acting, and I wanted to make movies. I mean, my heroes were, Steven Spielberg and George Lucas and Harrison Ford, and Mike talked about Captain Kirk today. My idol of how to be a woman was Leia. All right, she already was a hero, and the way she went about growing up and how she defended herself, the man she loved, and what she was fighting for, to me was like, this is it. This is who I wanted to be. Okay, so when they fucked her up and they fucked Han up, I took that personally. Okay, and I walked out of those movies thinking, had I not gotten sick, had I not gotten the flu, had I not gotten pneumonia, had I not had to have a tube shoved down my throat, which ruined my voice, and then had a tracheotomy put in, maybe I could have done something to stop that. Okay, this hurt, but look, this cult of victimhood goes out abusively to ruin everything that everybody believes in. This is why they deconstruct white male heroes like Kirk, sorry, Kojak, like Han Solo, like Luke Skywalker. Why they go out and thinking they're strengthening Leia by turning her, going from a leader of everything, a princess, royalty, to a pissant general. All right. Guess who holds the power in the United States? When you look at the government, guess who actually runs the military? President of the United States, not a general. You want that role, all right? Okay. So they degraded, deconstructed, and fucked them up. Why? Because J.J. Abrams wanted to ruin everything. Bob Iger wanted to create a cult, and he stole a sock. And he's looking at me. Here, you guys want to see something? I'm not happy with you, Kojak. I'm not. What they wanted to do was create a whole caste system of victims. Kyle Ron's a victim of his parents. And then you got Raylo's, creating fucked up fan fiction and headcanon about what really happened. And you've got, what was really interesting to me is that the one character that might have been interesting, Finn, the black guy, right? He turned out to be a token. The king of the SJWs. Oh yeah, you're right. And I might do that, Maze. You Ryan Johnson, who embraces the cult of victimhood, who when you look at his interviews, I'm sure views himself as a victim of his parents' religious zealotry. At least his parents stuck together, turned Finn into a token. All right. J.J. Abrams, well, he's a janitor. What? And no one said a word about that. I would have lost my mind. I would have said, look, you can do a lot of things with Finn, but to actually do that, do you know what it even looks like? They're so unaware of themselves. Okay, well, we put a black guy in this, so we're fine. And then what do they do to him? Okay. Hollywood has a problem. And it is a problem that they don't understand. They've helped create castes of victims everywhere. You know, they tell black people you're a victim of slavery. Still, even though it's been over for almost 200 years now. And or well, 150 years. And you're a victim of Jim Crow laws now. Look at Jussie Smollett. Okay? He is the king of that shit. Okay? You've got Brie Larson, who's a victim of something, and you've got Kathy Griffin, who, instead of actually trying to be funny, decided to go on dumbass attacks against the President of the United States because he won. And she's a victim. She did that herself. You did that yourself, Kathy. You've got Kathy Kennedy running around saying she was a victim. When? They bend over backwards for her ass. When? Okay. I think the only person in this whole menagerie of bullshit that has not said I'm a victim is Kelly Marie Tran. Okay. She left social media because the media was harassing her. Wasn't us. Again, I didn't care one whit. Okay. Did any of you? No. There you go. And what's really interesting is that they basically abuse the Latino guy, Oscar Isaac. It's like, look, what the fuck? But again, if you are creating cults of victimhood, and really, for all of this, it's about, I think, female power, empowerment, and female support, superiority, which is like, no, absolutely fucking not. Okay, I do not care for that. You want equality, you've got it. Look at Susan Arnold. She worked her ass off in a very much a dog-eat-dog world in the financial sector. Look where she is, okay? She's the most powerful woman in business, okay? But somehow, somewhere, somebody's gonna say she's a victim. And I'm sure she'd say, no, I'm not, shut the fuck up. Okay. And then let's go back to the pedophilia aspect. Michael Jackson, again, none of us know what really happened, but he was the perfect, patsy for the ones who really do this shit. Okay? And this is why we can't have nice things, is because this cult of victimhood has created the SJW movement, has created, those two fat fucking females yesterday on Facebook that I was talking about anorexia. They said I was talking about racism. All right, and I was mocking them on another thread because what the original topic about had fucking nothing to do with this. But this is the problem. This is identity politics. All right, this is the cult of victimhood. I'm sure these two bitches blamed their husbands. They're both married, which is like, what would marry you? All right, it's like screaming about racism. Now look, if me and Mike and, you bring up one of our dark council friends, Mark with the C, are hanging out together, guess what? Guess what? I'm a victim, you're a victim, he's a victim in their eyes. And we're just having dinner. Yeah, look, my favorite analogy to Bob Iger right now, he's the chimp throwing shit at people at Disney. That's what he's doing. Okay? That's what he's doing. But think about it. We all get together, our black friends, our Latino friends, other women, you know, in our group, Asian buddies, and we're all victims if a bunch of white guys show up. Of them, okay? I've never been a victim of anything in my life, ever, okay? Never. When I got sick, I just, you know, got through it, okay? I almost died. I had some really weird shit happen to me. Then, you know, you want to know about my childhood? I loved a lot of it. But my mom wasn't exactly a fun person to grow up with, all right? She was abusive. She was emotionally abusive, okay? Just nasty person, okay? And I forgave her. I mean, that's what you have to do. I'm not a victim of that. Stop doing that, okay? And stop listening to people who have more money than you could ever possibly dream of, okay? Just stop it. Because they're not victims. They're convincing you that you are, and guess what? You're not a victim either, okay? You know, you're the one that missed that opportunity. You're the one that didn't do that when you should have. All right? This is the problem with Disney. These people who are bitching and moaning and threatening to walk out, they actually believe they're victims. All right? But what's really going on, and then I'll leave you guys, is when you look at how they treat Christians, devout Jews, Muslims, secular normal people, the bigots, the fascists are them. All right? They don't go out of their way to actually live in the world, in the real world. They have to have their reassuring, comfortable echo chamber, or, they feel vulnerable? What? Again, no one cares. We're beyond that. All right, but you can't tell someone like an awful, like yesterday, that they're actually the ones that are being the racists. The person who brings up racism, or race in general, in a conversation is the racist. All right? I said absolutely nothing about it. It is not 1968 anymore, the year I was born. It is 2022, and no one gives a shit anymore. Okay? You look at, you look at what African Americans like Jericho Green and others who are now pointing out the problems with the left and calling them out for their racism. Look at that. Mind-boggling. Anyway, this is Steph. I'm losing my voice and I'm hungry. I gotta grab something to eat. So see you guys around the galaxy, and behave. And if anything happens today, I will probably be back. See you guys later.